In the previous video, we discovered that the RTX 4070 struggles to deliver a consistent 60 FPS experience in the most demanding games in 2024 at native 1440p resolution with the highest graphics settings. Now let's see if it can do that at native 1080p resolution. To test this, I've paired the GIGABYTE WINDFORCE OC RTX 4070 with the Ryzen 5 7600X CPU. Do you need a new Windows license key like I do right here with my new PC build? Then I have a great solution for you. Over the last 3 years, I've saved a lot of money by buying my Windows keys from cdkeyoffer.com. Allow me to demonstrate. I will be going for Windows 11 Pro. So just click on Buy Now. Then use my discount code IVADIM. Hit Apply. And that brings the price down to $22. After that, you just submit the order and select the payment method you wish to use. I will be going with the safe and fast PayPal payment. So you just press Pay Now. Once you're done with your payment, you will be redirected back to CDK Offer. And that's your order complete. Now you can go to User Center. Actually, it will redirect you there, where you can just grab your key by pressing View Key Code, Get Key, and then copy it. Then you can use your search bar to quickly bring up activation settings, change key, insert that key, hit Next, activate. Wait a few seconds and there you go. Now you have your Windows activated and ready to use for a fraction of the cost that you would normally pay. Get yours now at the link in the description below. And by the way, you may have noticed that they also have other Microsoft software, including Office 2019 and Office 2016. Don't forget to use my discount code if you want to grab any of those. Let's start with Hellblade 2, native 1080p resolution, NVIDIA DLAA enabled, and I've selected the highest graphics quality preset. And those of you who are watching my channel regularly already know what will happen. If we see close to 60 FPS in this area right here, then it will get much worse once we go further down into the forest. Check this out. 45 FPS. This is insane. However, it is better than 30 plus FPS at 1440p native. So at least this is somewhat playable. But am I happy with such a performance at 1080p resolution? Of course not. This is horrendous. I'd like to remind you that this game uses Unreal Engine 5 and ray tracing is done with Lumen, software-based solution, not hardware-based. Let's see if we can improve this experience by selecting the medium graphics preset. I think this might be it. 80 plus FPS over here pretty much means that we can count on the FPS to stay at above 60 in most cases, if not all. Now let's see, 64. It's holding, 62, but that is dangerously close to that 60 mark. This is incredible. Even on medium quality preset at 1080p, the RTX 4070 is barely making the cut. Let's set the graphics quality back to high and see what kind of adjustments do we need to make to have that 60 FPS experience using the highest graphics quality preset. Let's try enabling frame generation. Oh, check this out. This looks promising. 80 plus FPS in this location. And once we start descending into the forest, it stays at around 70. I guess NVIDIA's DLSS frame generation is saving the day here. And the controls feel absolutely fine in terms of latency on the controller. Let's see if that's the case for mouse and keyboard. Yes, it is very responsive. No issues whatsoever with the controls latency. It is kind of wild that we have to use frame generation to play the latest, most demanding games in 2024 using the RTX 4070 at 1080p resolution. Let me know, what do you think about this situation right here? I'll wait for your comments, let's have a discussion. There's one more option I would like to try. Let's disable frame generation, enable DLSS resolution upscaling quality, and let's keep graphics preset on high. Personally, I do not like enabling DLSS resolution upscaling when I'm using a 1080p monitor, especially if it's a large one, like a 27-inch. There's simply too few pixels for the DLSS to work with, which makes the image blurry, and it introduces some visual imperfections that we would otherwise not see, like shimmering on those branches right there, and obviously they look very, very blurry. The resolution upscaling works really well if you're using a higher resolution monitor. This is the kind of issues that you don't get if you're using a 1440p monitor, or even better, a 4K one. But let's see what the performance is like with DLSS set to quality at 1080p. 60 FPS, yes. Will it drop below 60? Oh, 59 FPS. This is just insane. Oh, 57. Whoa. Yeah, this is not great. The RTX 4070 could not keep that 60 FPS consistently at 1080p, even using DLSS quality. Basically, if you want to play this game at native 1080p resolution using the highest graphics quality preset, you have two options. One, use frame generation and native 1080p, and two, use DLSS upscaling set to quality. Personally, I prefer the first one. I think that the image quality is much nicer when frame generation is enabled with native 1080p to achieve this level of image fluidity that stays at above 60 FPS. Next up is Alan Wake 2. We are at native 1080p resolution, and I've selected high graphics quality preset. By the way, this is not the highest graphics settings, because we can actually increase some of these values further, and we are not using ray tracing at all. So it is not the same kind of graphics quality as we've had in Hellblade 2, because ray tracing was enabled in that game. We'll test the RTX 4070 performance with ray tracing enabled as well, but later on in the video. Let's keep the graphics quality preset on high for now and take a look, can it even handle this? In the forest, it appears that we are indeed getting that 60 FPS experience. Oh no, I've seen 59 just then, but very briefly. So the RTX 4070 is barely making the cut in this game using these graphics settings, which aren't really the highest settings at all. I wonder what will happen when we increase the graphics quality further. Let's set all of the options to the absolute maximum and take a look at the performance then. Yes, that is it. No ray tracing for now, but we'll take a look at that momentarily. And there is already a huge difference. Take a look at this. We are getting 40 plus FPS now, in the same area where we had some dips to 59 FPS previously. So yeah, this is not great, is it? 1080p resolution, yet another game that the RTX 4070 cannot run at native 1080p with maxed out settings. And we haven't even tried enabling ray tracing yet. One might argue that these extra settings are not actually providing much of a visual improvement compared to the performance hit that we are taking by enabling those. So let's set graphics preset back to high. That will lower some of these settings. However, I want to try ray tracing set to medium, because low is not worth it. In this game it looks kind of bad, so it is not worth it at all. Medium, on the other hand, looks pretty good, and obviously high looks great. I'll be happy even if we get to a playable experience using medium ray tracing. Obviously we will not get that 60 plus FPS experience, but I'm just curious, how bad can it be? And yeah, it is pretty bad. The FPS drops below 30 from time to time. 27 FPS, oh my god. Yeah, this is not great, and I doubt that even frame generation can fix this. But it's worth a try. Let's enable frame generation and see what happens. Whoa, this is actually better than I expected. Huh. Interesting. Oh, we're getting some stutters. There we go. This is the GPU demanding scene right here, and 50 FPS. The controls feel a little bit sluggish because of that latency, because our base FPS in this area right here is around 30, so that controls latency stays at around 30 FPS regardless of the fact that we see 50 FPS on our screen. I can't say that this is a terrible experience, but it is far from ideal. It is time to enable DLSS resolution upscaling. Let's select quality. Basically, that is 720p upscaled to 1080p. Frame generation stays on, high graphics preset, and ray tracing on medium. And this has the potential to actually deliver us that consistent 60 plus FPS experience. And indeed, yes, the FPS stays at above 60 at all times, even in the worst case scenario right here. And the controls feel fine now. But I can't say that I like how the game looks now, because when you enable DLSS quality on a 1080p screen, it just doesn't look that good. And it's not something that you expect to be using on a $500 to $550 GPU anyways at 1080p. Obviously not every area in the game will be that demanding. For example, this one here, as you can see, we are getting close to 50 FPS, and that is with graphics quality set to high, 1080p native resolution, no frame generation, no upscaling, and ray tracing is set to medium. And if we wanted to get to that consistent 60 FPS experience, then just enable frame generation, and voila, 80 plus FPS. Controls feel great because we have high base FPS, but is it a good experience when you have to change your graphics settings every time you change a location? I don't think so. I'd rather choose a specific set of graphics settings, keep it, and just enjoy the game. Of course, not every new game is that GPU demanding as Hellblade 2 and Alan Wake 2. For example, this is Horizon Forbidden West, also a very good looking game. Of course, not as good looking as Hellblade 2, but still pretty darn beautiful. As you can see, we are getting a consistent 60 plus FPS experience, even better 70, 80 or 100. Yeah, even in some of the worst case scenarios like this room right here, the FPS still stays at above 80. This is great. And we are at native 1080p, no resolution upscaling, no frame generation, using the highest graphics quality preset available. So there's still plenty of games that you can enjoy using the RTX 4070 at 1080p resolution native, if you choose to. However, I believe that the time of 1080p screens is coming to an end. because resolution upscaling is now very good, and you can only take advantage of that in terms of visual quality only if you are using a 1440p or higher resolution monitor. I've used this exact RTX 4070 to play games on a 4K screen, upscaling the resolution from 1080p up to 4K, and it was a much better experience than this native 1080p. If you're interested in that topic, then I'll leave a link to my video in the description below, so check it out. Maybe it will inspire you to actually upgrade your monitor to a 4K one. I think that the RTX 4070 is starting to show its age quite early. Make no mistake, games are that this demanding and this beautiful will keep coming out this year and the next. And the RTX 4070 cannot keep up with them. That's why I think that the RTX 4070 Super is actually a better option than the 4070, because it has more performance, which will enable you to play the latest games for longer without upgrading your GPU. Personally, I use the 4070 Super to play games on a 4K screen, and I enjoy that. Usually the 4070 Super costs just $50 more than the 4070. I think it is well worth it. But let me know, what do you think about it? And if you're interested in any of the products featured in this video, you can buy them at the links in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to reward my work with a like and subscribe for more if you haven't already. It was I, Vadim. Until next time.